Howdy everybody, and welcome back to Nelson Creek Farm. It is Thursday the 29th of April, heading into May, and we got a few more little projects to wrap up and show you what we've been up to for the last little bit here in the month of April 2021. Well, first up, in the last video, you probably noticed that we had put rock in the creek over by the duck pond. Well, we've got rock coming in all the way down the creek now, except for right here where my shadow's at, another waterfall that we're going to build and Skylar put together, and it leaks. So we're gonna do a little reworking of that, and then once that is done, all of this right in here, between there and there, is going to get some more of the rock on it. But yeah, that's looking a lot better than it did. One of the other things we've got done is we've hooked up the PVC fitting, the union for the intake line on the water pump. Next up is to very carefully and very slowly fill the water pump, make sure we get all the air out of it, and get the thing charged and check for leaks prior to turning down water so that we can make sure this thing works. Okay, you've probably seen a little gadget like this. It's just plain garden hose right here with the male end on it. This is the nut, and this whole thing just screws onto the end of the garden hose. Has a little ball valve in it. But up on this end is an adapter. It is 3/4 inch female garden hose on both ends of this little brass piece. So it'll screw onto here, plus it'll screw onto the fitting on the back side of the shed. Now, first thing we're going to do before we do anything else, so I'm going to pull the gasket out of the end of it so we don't lose it, and I'm going to turn on the water to flush this hose out and all the other little gadgets that might be in it. Because whatever's in there, we don't want to have it going into the pump. We'll let that run for a minute. Okay, now that I'm reasonably sure that the hose is rinsed out, the gasket's back in the end of that, we'll just screw that right onto the end of this valve. Kind of like that, make sure it's tight. Now, before I get ahead of myself and I turn on that valve and start charging that pump irrigation system, we're going to make sure a few of the valves are off first. On the west side of the pump, we want to make sure this valve right there is open, which it is. Now it's closed. We want this one open. This goes to the hydrant down at the riser. This one we want off, if I remember right. That one goes to the sprinklers. So we're going to turn. Yeah, it's going to go that way. Yeah, I just love these PVC ball valves. They get sticky. Anyway, this one up here goes to the waterfall, and I'll shut it off next. Got that one turned off. Now this ball valve right here is the main on-off valve for the water line that runs down to the pond. That's the intake. We want that one on because what we're trying to do is let the water run down this pipe. It's going to come in back there, around here, and here, and down into here, and then out into that, and hopefully we'll get all the air bubbles out of that. We'll turn this valve on, and then just crack this one open a bit. You can probably hear that water running. With that running slow, it's going to take this thing a while to fill up with water. We're just going to keep an eye on it and see what happens. Okay, we're getting water out of the pump. So we're going to let that run for a little bit, flush it out, because it's looking a little rusty. You know, as expected, there's a little bit of gunk in there. It's just spiders and that sort of thing that got in there over the winter. Clean that out a little bit. yeah, we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and shut that little valve off and finish filling up the whole system there. There's a little fancy ball valve. It just takes a screwdriver to open and close that. You may be able to hear the water running into that system. What's going to happen is that little trickle of water will come in here, down here, and out that away, like I mentioned a minute ago. That'll hopefully fill that full of water. And then when that happens, that filter over there will fill full of water, which it's filling full of water now, it looks like, and it will start draining out that hose in the bottom because I left that valve open. Now that's also the air escape for the air to come out of the intake pipe. Here's a little item of interest I found while I was filling the irrigation pump and testing for leaks. It's one of the old door hinges off the old spud cellar that used to be here. It's right here in this next photo. I'll show you right quick. So yeah, there's all sorts of this sort of thing popping up here at the farm out here where the old spud cellar used to be, which I thought was out there, but it was actually over here. Yeah. Now I did turn on the water to this hydrant to help get more air out of the system, so now that that's run good a little bit and there doesn't seem to be much more in the way of air coming out of that, we'll go over to the next little thing that's running. Well, there you go, folks. We have water running at the waterfalls at the top end of Nelson Creek. If some of you recall, in the last year or so, I've been talking about trash coming down in the pipe and worrying about plugging it up. Well, this year we got something a little different. I've got this perforated heavy iron screen to stuff in there. And as you can see right there, it's already catching some debris, and over there in the corner it's got some too. So yeah, that a little bit bigger holes than what I would have liked in it, but that will work. That right there is our gate for down at the farm, and this one is for the balance of the property here, the other 33 acres. So yeah, this one feeds down to the house and the creek and the pond. So yeah, you can see how muddy that water is too. Real lovely stuff. It's sneaking across from the neighbors' runoff. That's why it's full of mud and silt and yada yada yada. Now, to keep somebody from thinking that this is maybe theirs, I'm going to take it back to the house, let it dry, and I'm going to hit it with some orange paint. Yeah, I kind of got this thing for orange paint right now. Yeah. That right there is the pipe that the water comes down out of from up on top to fill the settling pond. And as you can see, it's got a little bit of a problem. What has happened is this south bank here has dropped off and is sloughing. It has run out the dirt into the bottom of the settling pond here, and that dirt sloughing off of there covered the hole. Well, I think kept that water coming this last year. There's water coming up out of that, and this thing was just about buried. You can see up in here where I've been digging and removing dirt, and I'm going to do this whole side along in here. As you can see, it's sloughed off quite a little bit down through here, and this side has an overhang. Yeah, some of it's dropped off down in here as well, but it isn't near as bad as this south side here. So what I'm going to do with the dirt, and this is going to take a little bit of work on my part, I'm going to put it all in a wheelbarrow and haul it down here where I've already started dumping it. What I'm going to do is right in here, we're going to dump the dirt, build this up, make kind of a ramp going uphill this way to this end. And the reason being is if water is going uphill, the sediment should not follow. So hopefully we turn around back down there on that end, that'll all fill up with dirt and sediment while this end stays clean. So how do you get chocolate milk out of a cow? You milk it at night. So you're driving along on the highway and there's a slow-moving cattle truck in front of you. How do you get it to get out of the way? Well, you roll down your window and you holler, "Move over." Hey. That's going to wrap up this little episode, plus the month of April. I wish tomorrow was April 1st, because I could claim it as an April Fool's Day, because we're supposed to be getting high winds again tomorrow. Yay! Yes, that was a sarcastic comment. We've had nothing but a lot of high winds this year, so if you don't like the weather, stay in California. Anyhow, I'm Farmer Dave, wishing you the best, and don't forget, right down there is that little red button thing that says subscribe in it in white letters. Click on that. Click on the bell icon right next to it so you can choose how you want to be notified when we got a new video out. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, let us know what you think in the comments. We'll try to get back to you and show you what you want to see. So until next time, when we getting some field work done and some water on the place, I'm Farmer Dave. We'll catch up with you later. Y'all have a good one now. Bye-bye.